The St. Louis Blues just made a shocking trade, acquiring a 6'3" right-handed defenseman in Logan Mailloux from the Montreal Canadiens while moving out a fan favorite. We're going to break down all the implications on this, exactly how this fits the mold of the St. Louis Blues, and everything you need to know on this trade later on this episode. Before we get into that, if you're part of the 80.7% watching this and you're enjoying these daily videos on the St. Louis Blues, where we're going to cover everything from prospects, trades, updates, lines, going into next season, anything you want to know on the Blues, you can get right here on Blues Digest. So go hit that free subscribe button. It helps us out a bunch. But with that, let's just hop straight into why everyone clicked on this video. And we did see today a trade. The St. Louis Blues traded fan favorite Bolduc to the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for right-handed defenseman Logan Mailloux. Now with Mailloux, there's a lot to like about this kid coming in on the system. 6'3", 213 pounds, a right-handed shot defenseman who's only 22 years old. He put up good numbers with Laval in the AHL, moving in to get some games with the Montreal Canadiens. There's an elephant in the room. We're not going to touch on that, as it seems like he's completely moved past that. He's worked on himself as a person. But I mean, looking at this, what is your thoughts on the Blues going out to address a need on defense and getting an offensive defenseman that sometimes gets compared to a prototype of Boucher?
Well, we've been talking about it a lot on the channel since we started the channel just a handful of days ago at this point. But the St. Louis Blues are looking to get younger on defense, and not necessarily on the immediate NHL squad, but in the system. They're looking to get younger, at least have some prospects kind of coming up that look like they're going to make an impact at the NHL level immediately, right? And or maybe over the course of a year or something like that. And I feel like Mailloux could be that. Now, I actually had, and we'll get to Bolduc in a second because he is a fan favorite. We'll get into that and dive into the implications of that. But I actually had the opportunity to watch Mailloux live last month when I was in Laval, and they were in the Calder Cup playoffs in the third round. And obviously they were playing the Rochester Americans. And Mailloux was great offensively and put up great numbers the whole season in the AHL. He was very impressive. And again, offensively, he brings a lot to the table. Defensively, there's a lot left to be desired. And watching him live, it did not look like he looked nervous. He was playing nervous. He made a ton of mistakes, especially in his own zone. The entire team that game wasn't that great. So, of course, I still think that there's a lot of high upside, but keep that in mind that at least defensively, I don't know if he's as close to making the jump as some people would have him pegged to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he continues to develop and progress, especially in the blue system. I wouldn't, pencil this guy in on the NHL squad next season just yet. He's probably going to go down to the AHL, have one more season. But I feel like with what he brings to a lineup, at least offensively, he's going to be a major threat in seasons to come. And he is definitely going to make the NHL at some point. But I do worry about his defensive game just based on what I've seen so far.
Because the big thing when looking at Mailloux, I like the 6'3" frame. We know he's a good puck mover. He has a great shot. I think the big thing is, at the very worst, you're getting a power play quarterback, someone that can join this team, a youth movement on defense, stepping in. Maybe he joins the top four in a year or two. Maybe he makes it the bottom six defenseman on the squad. But the big thing is you have Mailloux for a very cheap contract. It gives more flexibility on this team. It's a team that's going to have to go out and continue to add some young guys. We know the defense is a little old when it comes to Fowler, Parayko, Falk, Letty, but Broberg stepping in, the movement of Mailloux coming in, Juracek just a few years away. This team is looking better and better. You have a young core that can dominate right now, but they're going to continue to get better. You don't have a full team of aging vets right now with Puckpedia. They do have them projected to start with Nick Letty. We could see Nick Letty or Falk moved out. There's so many rumors we're going to cover on just other players that could join this blue line. But right now, Darius, could you say Mailloux come into this team in maybe next season, the year after, and take over as a top power play quarterback? And maybe, like I said, Bouchard's not the best defensively, but you're getting someone that can put up very good numbers, and he's also quite big.
Yeah, he's a big player, like you mentioned, right? I didn't even get into that. He's 6'3", and he can protect the puck, right? He's pretty good at that. I wouldn't say he's the most physical player, especially for his size, which is not a great thing either. But Obviously, as you head into the future, that's got to be the plan. I know that they were trying, we know that they're trying to get younger on defense. They do that in this move. They also free up some salary cap space, which we'll get into. But obviously, Mailloux, I think this is the point of this move, that he will be the quarterback on the power play moving forward, that he will make the NHL, and whether he's playing top four, wherever he fits in at the time, because again, it's going to be soon. I don't know if it's as soon as this season, but at least full time. I'm sure he'll see some time because injuries do happen over the course of a season. But I think that is the plan, that he's going to come up, play a big role heading into the future, and I feel like he is going to progress to be a very valuable NHL player. So this is a good move, right? Like, you're getting the Montreal Canadiens were willing to move off a player like this. I was joking that if it was going to be Kyrou, which didn't happen, by the way, Jordan Kyrou is going to be a St. Louis Blue, and they're not going to be able to trade him at this point. The deadline has passed. A lot of fans are very happy about that, as you can see here. But Jordan Kyrou will be staying, but you move out some salary cap space, and obviously we're going to get into that. But I think this is a good move at the end of the day. You get something that you needed, which is younger on defense, especially heading into the future, and you free up some salary cap space.
Because moving on from Bolduc, it does suck. Us as fans, we love to watch Bolduc. What he did under Monty, almost being a 20-goal scorer for the St. Louis Blues team. You move on from a very young piece that had showed a lot of flashes, 19 points on that third line. He was a staple of this team. But I think there is a bit of a long jam coming up on forward. We know they went out and got Carbonneau with their first round selection this year, a big right winger that's a power forward prototype that can score a lot of goals. Yes, he's a few years away, but moving on from Bolduc opens the way for more players coming in. Dvorsky's a center that can play some wing, that's going to join this team at some point. But the big thing is we're seeing a very top-heavy team. And I don't want to say top-heavy in they only have a top six, but this is a team that has a lot of forwards throughout the system. With the system, Stenberg, there's so much here. Looking at this, it did seem like the pathway to keep a lot of these guys. That's why the Cairo rumors were floating around. You have Neighbors, a young name within this roster. There's so much here with Snuggerud even stepping up. I do think with this team, they had to add on defense. They want to get younger. There's still a couple of contracts they have to move on from. But with this top six, Joseph is a very questionable piece. Maybe a fourth line winger at best. But looking at the forward group, do you think maybe they go out and continue to address more on this forward group into free agency? And do you think they make a trade to open up maybe even a bigger trade later down the road?
Yes, and I actually think that they're going to add via free agency, and I'll get to that in a second. But in doing this trade, you free up some salary cap space. Of course, we know, what Bolduc brought to the lineup. Fantastic young player, and the fans absolutely love him. It's tough to give up players like this. But in this league, we all talk about these trades and we're like, wouldn't it be great if St. Louis gave up absolutely nothing in return for a great player, right? Like, every team would love that. But in this league, you got to give to get. And that's exactly the situation here. So you do free up some cap space. And I think that there could be another move coming, because if you look at the lineup, like you just had up there a second ago, this is pretty good. Like, this looks pretty solidified. I think they want to add at center, and I think it's going to be via free agency. There's a lot of smoke and a lot of rumors right now, reports about St. Louis being in on Granlund. We've had videos covering that. And even Elliot Friedman is saying that Granlund to St. Louis is heating up. So I think they want to add at center, because if you look at the wings, Holloway being on your third line, wing right now is crazy. Like, this is looking like a deep team. Like you mentioned, Joseph is a questionable piece. You don't know exactly what you're going to get there, but if you move Sundqvist maybe down or to the wing, even maybe if you get another center, of course, Braden Shen would move down. If you're getting Granlund, that could look really good. So I feel like something's coming. Again, I'm just spitballing here in terms of what they could do. I feel like something's coming in terms of another move to free up even more cap space, because keep in mind, if you look at Puckpedia right now, it's not even accounting for what you're going to get with LTIR space from Torrey Krug. So they still have some space to make some moves. And I think they're planning to do something significant, because this team is really starting to take shape.
But I mean, Blues fans, what is your thoughts on this trade? I know it sucks to move on from Bolduc, but we're getting a very young 22-year-old defenseman that can move the puck very well. We're actually going to get Habs Digest Josh Goth on to give us a breakdown on Logan Mailloux as well. So you're going to want to check that out maybe tonight or tomorrow. But the big thing is, this is a team that's working towards the future while still competing. Let us know all your thoughts. What do you think they should do next? What do you think Army does going into the day 2 and day 1 of free agency? Let us know everything down below. We just want to give a huge shout out for watching this video, Blues fans. It's been awesome to see you guys show support. This channel's booming right now. We just started this weekend, but thanks to you guys. And once again, a huge shout out. But that'd be it for this episode. Go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, share this video with friends. We'll be back with another episode, so keep your eye out. But I've been your host with my co-host, Darius, and take care.